Hi there, it's Metaverse Zing. Welcome back to the channel. Some of you had asked me to do a video on nodes in Upland. So in this video, I'll discuss some of the nodes that I'm actively a part of, as well as the ones I feel have the potential of becoming something big. Let's get started. Number one, Century City, Los Angeles. Clearly the best node in Upland. The leadership team comprises of these visionary folks who are managing this node very professionally. Just look at the neighborhood. The whole place looks so exciting with all of these buildings around. Let's talk numbers. There are 680 properties in Century City. 118 of them have a completed construction. That's roughly 17% overall. And there are 100 more which are still in construction. So by the time these are finished, I'll say the completion rate will be at 30% or so, which is really good because not a lot of neighborhoods have that. Last I checked, the note holders owned 68% of the total properties in this neighborhood. So generally the benchmark is 50%, and Century City stands at 68%, so that's going really well. Let's have a look at the floor as well. We're back to upexland.me. Since Century City does not have any unminted properties, we're going to look for the secondary market prices. For that, the filter is for sale, neighborhood is Century City, and I hit search. The cheapest USD listing in Century City right now is $239. Let's scroll down to see the UPEX price as well. The cheapest UPEX listing right now is 265,000 UPEX. A few hours ago, it was 284,000. So I think Tosset has just listed his property a couple hours ago or a couple minutes ago. Anyway, the point is the floor has been steady here for a while now. I've been watching the floor for a very long time. I think at least for the USD listings, back in February, the listings were costing you $100. In late March, it was around $150 and $160. And that's when I bought one of the properties. And then in May, it is standing at $240, which is really huge. Imagine this, you bought this property for 37,000 UPEX or 33,000 UPEX, and now you're selling it for 284,000 UPEX. It's a real win. And that's exactly the point the nodes are making right now. In some cases, the nodes are actually better than the collection properties because you don't get this kind of profit in collections. Second thing, with all of these builds getting constructed and we finally hitting 30% completion rate, I'll say the floor will never go below to 50,000 UPEX. On the other hand, once all of these freshly minted properties, by that I mean the first time ever sales. So for example, this person minted the property for 32,000 UPEX and it was never sold and it's the first time sale. Once all of these first time sales are done, I'll say eventually the people would have bought these properties for 160,000 UPEX, 200,000 UPEX, or maybe 250,000 UPEX. They would not want to list these properties for just 200,000 UPEX, right? So once the first batch of the minted properties is gone, the secondary market is going to go up, and we'll probably hit 350,000 or maybe 400,000 UPEX for each of these property. The leadership team envisions this place to be the business district of Los Angeles. There will soon be two venture shops opening up in Century City, and the citizens do have plans to open cafes and car showrooms when they arrive into the metaverse. So, guess it's going to be a big thing. The next one on my list is Beverlywood, Los Angeles. This is a subnode of Century Citizens. It's a fairly new initiative. So the leadership team behind Century Citizens wants Century City to be the business district of Los Angeles and Beverlywood to be the residential area. So you can imagine like this. You'll sit back and relax in your Beverlywood houses, and then you'll go to Century City for work, and then you'll come back to Beverlywood houses to relax. Again, we don't really have the residential use case right now, but when it does arrive, it's going to be a big hit. Besides having the same awesome team running both the nodes, I also like the fact that Beverlywood and Century City are so close to each other. It's just this road, so your commute is going to be very short. Statistically, there's not much to discuss right now, as it's still new. I'll just say that there are over 2,000 properties and only 23% of them are minted. So not a bad time to join the movement. I think the unminted floor right now is 38,000 UPEX, so better hurry when you can. For the next one, we're moving to Portage Park in Chicago, another great node in Upland. This one also has a very active and visionary leadership behind it. Generally, small nodes are easier to build and manage. Portage Park proved that wrong with over 15,000 properties in the neighborhood and roughly 11% completion rate of the buildings. Just like Century City, I love Portage Park for the active community and the strong leadership. These people are constantly thinking of new ideas to develop the neighborhood and increase the value of it. They even have plans to build a drag strip once the Upland team introduces racing to the metaverse. Let's check out the neighborhood. I'll just randomly zoom into this area. Look at all of these white and red buildings. It just looks so beautiful. Imagine there's 15,000 properties and roughly 1,600 of them have the buildings on them. Besides the awesomeness, Portage Park also has two adventure shops in it, this one and this one. So what does it take to get in? Let's go back to upexland.me. Since Portage Park still has unminted properties from the Hidden Gems event, I'll show you the unminted floor first, and then we'll move on to the secondary marketplace. I hit search, and this is the list of unminted properties right now. It starts at 93,000 UPEX and it goes on to More than 1 million apex. That's a lot. And we have 25 unminted properties. For people like me, it doesn't make sense to buy these as these are very expensive, and I'll find it very hard to sell these later in the market. So I'll jump onto the secondary marketplace. I'm going to start with the USD listings first. The cheapest USD property in Portage Park right now is $10 at 161% markup, which is not a lot. So if you still want to get in, I think it's a good start. You should just buy this. Let me just show you the Apex floor as well. So if I go to the Apex section and I hit search, the cheapest Apex listing right now is 13,900 Apex at 216% markup, which is not very high, but it's definitely higher than $10 at 161% markup. Let's see if we have any better deals. So yes, if we look at these properties, these are for 14,000 Apex at 121% markup and 124% markup. So if you really want to get into Portage Park, I'll suggest you buy these instead of these. Number four, Holliswood, Queens. I've already mentioned this one in my previous videos. This one is run by Radishad from Upland Analysis. Ever since he announced the node after the Queens collection reveal, I've seen the floor gradually rising up from 30,000 OPEX to almost 70,000 OPEX now. I'm very bullish on this one as he has a great community, he knows what he is doing, and the floor has been moving up. Just look at the neighborhood ones. These white townhouses with red roof really lighten up the town. Radish Head originally wanted to have red walls and green roof to represent the radishes, but unfortunately we do not really have green roofs, so here we are with white walls and red roof. It still looks very beautiful, although it seems a little similar to Portage Park, but that's okay. There are 851 properties in Holliswood. As of now, 7% of the properties have a completed building, and another 13% are in progress. If you haven't bought anything in Holliswood yet, I totally recommend you to buy something because I can see the floor moving up to 100,000 UPX very soon. Just like Century City, we are still in the first batch of the sales, so the minted properties aren't sold for the first time yet. Once they are done, nobody would want to sell their properties for 50,000 or 60,000 UPX. The floor has to move to 100,000 UPX very soon. Besides the obvious incentive of the rising floor, Radish Shed is also offering a special incentive to anybody who's completing a building here. So if you build a small townhouse, Radish Shed will pay you 4,000 UPEX. If you build a regular townhouse, he'll give you 16,000 UPEX. For luxury houses, it's 18,000, and for apartments, it's 30,000 UPEX. Although try to avoid small townhouses unless you can't build anything else on them. For example, maybe this one. Number five, Midtown Terrace, San Francisco. I don't own any property here, but I so wish I did. People say it's one of the original nodes, and the view does validate that. Look at all of this. The neighborhood has 800 properties, and roughly 48% of them have a building on them. If you haven't bought anything here yet, you probably wouldn't now, as the floor stands at 500,000 UPEX. Yes, that's right, 500,000 UPEX for a non-collection property in San Francisco. I think it's a good enough inspiration for people to be more actively participating in the emerging nodes. Since it's taking a lot of time, I'll just quickly run through the other nodes that have caught my attention. Number six, Glenview, Oakland. This one is run by Loyal Doyle. This was a huge success as the community was able to complete 19% buildings in a large neighborhood of 2,000 properties. How exactly? I'll give the credit to Loyal Doyle, who's incentivizing anybody who's completing a building here. The incentive is if you complete a building here, Loyal Doyle will offer you one of his Glenview properties for just 8,000 UPEX. So you get more properties from Loyal Doyle and then you build more constructions on them and then you get more properties. Very smart way to inspire people. Next up, Hollywood, Los Angeles. Not actively following this one, but this one also has a very active community of people who have very interesting ideas for the node. Besides being a collection neighborhood, owning a property in Hollywood, Los Angeles alone is a good enough reason for you to be a part of this node. This neighborhood has 6,000 properties and 4% of them have buildings. Number 8, Sherwood Forest, Detroit. This one is run by SSFTG. I think it's very interesting that SSFTG has SF in the name and SF could also mean Sherwood Forest. Anyway, it's a small neighborhood with 500 properties and 2% building completion rate. I don't own anything in Sherwood Forest right now, but the floor does seem interesting. Number 9, Neponsit, Queens. This one is run by Mark Ferguson, Invest for More. Again, a very small neighborhood with just 570 properties and almost 1.5% building completion rate. The floor does seem steady at 35,000 UPEX right now, but with the new incentive structure he's offering, the floor should move up soon. Next up, Rancho Park, Los Angeles. More of Abdullah 86 SA's pet project than a node. This neighborhood has 1,400 properties and Abdullah owns 1,200 of them. In terms of building completion, roughly 8.5% of the properties have a building on them. I got in on this one as I'm pretty sure that Abdullah will end up building a big empire here. Besides these, I'm also keeping a check on Mexican town Detroit, Broad Channel, Queens, Mosswood, Oakland. This one has 50% building completion rate and I'm an adventure shop for NFLPA legends. Quailwood, Bakersfield, 29% building completion, and the Sunset Node in San Francisco, although the hype is not the same as it was once. Speaking of nodes, a group of executives and chief executives, including me, are trying to build something in the Boystown neighborhood in Chicago. I've already spoken about this in my previous video, so if you want to just buy a property in Boystown, let me know. If I missed any active node, please let me know in the comments. I'll make sure to mention it in my next video. That's it for now. Thanks for watching. Bye.